Hi, I'm Daniel Winfield-Smith. I'm the lead level designer of Thief.
Hi, I'm Nicolas Quentin and I'm the art and game director of Thief.
You're watching Connected Digital World.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about Thief?
Thief is all about stealing. It's about being a master thief. It's about challenging yourself, exploring.
It's about being empowered by being in places you shouldn't be. And at the same time, it's this thing that some games is about going out, rolling up your sleeves and just doing the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And brawling, this is about how do you just outsmart and be better than everybody else, and they never know that you were even there. I think that's kind of an empowerment that's different than a lot of games.
Thief is obviously a very popular franchise going back a number of years.
Yeah.
What's changed from the early Thief games to Thief today?
I think we wanted to keep the core essence so that people who played the original go like, yes, this is a Thief game. But there are some things like, because it's 10 years since the last installment of Thief, so we wanted to make sure that it kind of represented also what you can do with technology today, as well as making sure that players of today kind of can get into it, and get interested into this, so without getting at the cost of the experience.
So we reinvent kind of the story. We reinvent the main character, then we respect the pillar of who was Garrett, what was the city. So on those elements, we really try to respect the essence of the game, but we really make sure it was a reinvention of what was a Thief game.
So, as part of the sort of 16 years since the first game came out, I believe you've got a special achievement in the game.
Yes, we have a special reward for those who take out 16 candles in the game and give them a happy birthday achievement / trophy.
Excellent, that's really cool. So you can play Thief in many different ways. Do you want to tell us a little bit about some of the different ways?
So the first off the bat, you have to class the regular, like easy, medium, hard, difficult, called Rogue, Thief, and Master, which is just a good starting package for anybody who's new to the franchise. But we also know there's a lot of players that are very specific expectations. For example, us, the developers, we also, a group of very old school fans of the franchise. So we wanted to be able to give the players the option of customizing as they see fit. So we have a special customize mode where you can go in and you can disable specific features like the focus, and make sure that it's disabled for that playthrough, or you can't take any damage, or you can't cause any alerts. So this is a way of kind of customizing and tailoring the game to fit the experience you would like.
Really inspired, in fact, by the PC history of the license as all the photos.
So tell us about Iron Man.
Oh, I actually played it just here before the interview, just to see how far I could get. Iron Man is one of the most difficult mods we have, the switches you can activate, and it just means that the consequences is permanent, which means if you die, game over. And this is pretty harsh, but But we believe that some people will enjoy it, and we're looking forward to seeing if people are going to share their experiences with others and actually proving us that they can do better than we can with a higher score. So the customized mode has a score multiplier. So at the end of the game, you get a score. So depending on how well you did you get all the loot, or did you just get the main loots, plus what switches did you have activated and what difficulty mode. So it makes a huge difference. So we're assuming to some extent that some people will beat us to it.
You've listened quite a lot to the fans about what they wanted and what they didn't want, what they've seen in terms of gameplay footage and trailers over the last X number of months. A lot of people, when the first trailers came out, said, "Oh, it's not Thief because I can see this. He's got this mode. You can see this." So you've taken all that on board and you've made it so that people can turn a lot off, a lot on. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that and why you chose to listen to the fans?
In fact, it was really to deliver. The game was really challenging. It's really a good game about challenging things, but we wanted also, it was more about giving hints to the newcomers also. It's really about that, but the game has been balanced without those, without the focus. So if you want to have that hardcore experience or challenging experience, you can really go and search it as a hardcore fan. But it's all those layers of feedback are really there to make sure that everyone who want to have the Thief experience, the Thief fantasy, will be able to jump in the game and have a lot of pleasure. So it's really about customization, about challenging yourself, getting rid of some options and things. It's to the player's choice to decide what experience you want to have and how you want to be a Master Thief.
there's a lot of iteration going on because when we initially showed at E3, there was some XP system that was kind of a system we were trying out to see how it worked. And that's one of the things that fans reacted to. Well, that's new. On paper, it sounded like a good idea. How do we want to motivate the player to do certain things? But at the end, the community feedback, our playtest, and also our gut feelings that it was just we didn't need it to kind of motivate the player to work from the shadows to kind of get that sense of stealing. So it's not. Oh, this is something. It's like all the information together is what we conclude to make the best possible choice.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and we had a community manager. She was sending us all the feedback each week about because we don't have time to read all those things, even though we listen and we read them. So she did a really good job of giving us a lot of information. What is the topic of the week? Those kind of things. So we're able to address those and make sure we're listening and make sure we're in phase with those.
Adapting to make the game the best possible game it can be, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So you can play as a stealth game, as an action game, as an action stealth game.
So let's go back to the action part.
Action.
Okay? This is one of the things that some people kind of react to because it's kind of a broad term. So what we wanted to do was make sure that one of the traits of this game is the light and shadow. So even if you can play let's say out of the way and we're never there. The more like the challenging aspect. But if you want to go like more aggressively, we allow that. But the way we do it is you don't go into the light and say, okay, bring it on. You hit and run. And suddenly you have a crowd of people and they disappear one by one. And they never know what hit them. And then suddenly they're even clear and you're like, yeah.
It's still on a stealth way. It's still on a kind of a coming from the shadows and the predator from the shadows.
We call it hit and run from the shadows kind of style gameplay. We have to pick your battles. So this guy's isolated, take him out. This guy's a captain. He affects all the others and makes them more effective at searching for you. So let's start with taking him out. There's a crossman on the balcony, let's take him. There's always these layers of how do you find strategies in the aggressive aspect of it. And this is kind of what we wanted to make it. This is actually pretty fun to kind of do that. To take the opponent challenge to clear the area without ever causing alertness and everybody's just gone.
We also have some element in the game that help to fast a little bit the pace of the game. So those kind of live in, but it's not like pure action. It's really still a stealth game, and it's really important for us that it was true to what was a Thief game.
And this is the kind of thing that Thief, when he came out in '98, was very, very daring in the fact that it just tried something different from all the other games at the market at the time. It just said, you know what? It's okay not to have an agenda that's very violent. Let's give the player an agenda that you do jobs and you kind of have to acquire items. And it's about how do you decide to get there? How do you decide to acquire that item? And that's kind of what we went back to all the time. Like, what is the philosophy?
Thinking about acting. You see, you need to think.
Acting, exactly. And we're not going to judge you.
Yeah.
We're going to allow you to be the one and play the way you like to play.
They really want to play Thief. And can you blame them?
Yeah, exactly.
The visuals are amazing. How did you guys come up with the inspiration to... There's just so much detail, even like on bookshelves, on desks, that some people are just going to totally miss it. So
first, we had a really talented
great
team.
answer is London.
Yeah.
Inspiration.
The main inspiration, in fact, was really Thief, the previous games. From there, for sure, with the new technology, we can add a lot of details and things. So we did a lot of research about the architectures to make sure we're credible. It was really important for us that the credibility of our world. At some point, even though we have a mystic element to the games, we wanted to make sure that the whole environment was staying credible to the public. Movies like maybe Sweeney Todd from Tim Burton, those mood, the Jack the Ripper kind of feeling, the London mood, it been inspired. Even though the city, it's not London, it's really, the city has been inspired by Montreal, Edinburgh, Paris, London, a lot of places, and the city itself of the previous games. So it's really about making sure that we give all the good reference to the artistic team to make sure, and also to create a good team of talented people to make sure they will be able to address our vision.
I think also one of the things that comes to in these kind of games where there's choices and within the environment, the producer's worst nightmare, right? There's all the content that some players never see. If you're the aggressive players and you decide to disturb the peace and quiet, you might not get hints that are given through narration. Right, and for example, the demo you saw, the code you saw earlier on, there's over 5 ways of getting into that matter, and most of them are not very obvious. And this is the kind of thing, and there's hints to how do you find that one. There's lots of layers of hints, and so we kind of wanted to reward players for playing stuff. There's just more content that a lot of players will miss, but we give them something that when they talk about it, they're like, wait a minute, what do you mean you went that way? kind of thing. And that's kind of the fun part of it when you discover, and you can go back and see, wait a minute, why didn't I catch this one? And you feel like, and then you find the loot you were missing, and so on.
So the levels are huge anyway. So how did you go around designing each level that's so big anyway, and then having multiple ways of getting in and doing everything?
A lot of work.
I bet.
It's a cooperative work between the level artists, the level designers, and the narrative also. It was really important to have a high-level team that it's a blend of a lot of departments, in fact.
What we wanted to be really important is the architectural integrity. You believe that this thing, this house is actually a house, the interior actually fits the exterior, that kind of thing that's very subtle, but when you're playing it, you kind of indirectly notice that this kind of makes sense. For example, the way we approach it is kind of we design a scenario. This is the story outline. This is the area, the location. And as we were playing, we were just like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if you could do this? This makes sense that there would be a door here. It would make sense instead of just trying to hard code like there needs to be a door in this room, but it doesn't make any sense. No, we want it to be because humans are growing up with the architecture all around. They know when something's off. They want to make sure that the credibility was very natural.
The story's got a very supernatural feel to it. Do you want to talk a little bit about that without giving anything too much away?
Spoilers.
It's part of what was the thief world, so we really want to keep that, even though now we call it more mystic element than supernatural element, credibility again.
We want to keep you grounded and make sure that you, at the same, both feel strong but also vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And then at the same time, you layer on part of the story, the focus. There's like an underlying theme, a red thread that goes through that kind of gives you this idea of how it works. I think it's very important that we slowly build it up. So we don't want to just go like, oh, fireballs and magic. We want to keep it so that you feel you can relate to the world.
But the layer is still there.
But yes, it allows us to do fun stuff, right?
What's next for Thief?
Right now we haven't announced anything. Right now we're just really eager to get the game out there and very eager to see how the response is. We do play tests and so on, but right now we want to hear what people say, what the feedbacks are, what do they like.
And what's next for you guys?
Vacation.
Vacation. Looking
secret projects.
Looking at the feedback and
Post-mortem and
all those things, yeah.
Yeah, right now it's we're kind of like just chilling and we want to wait for this response. It's a really exciting time for us. Seeing reviews and seeing what people write. It's very interesting because we're kind of biased because we've been for a long time. So getting a fresh pair of eyes on it is really healthy.
And vacation at home.
And trying to play Vacation under better normal circumstances.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for your time tonight, guys.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.